Yes, your girl built this business from nothing, from the dirt. If you were walking the same journey, you're like, girl, I'm building this business, okay? I'm working my full-time job. Give me all the tips. You're in luck because we're gonna get into it right now. Hey, CourtneyLSanders here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to me, I'm a full-time certified 7-figure online life and business coach, as well as wife and mom. I wear all the hats and do all the things. And your girl has been wearing all the hats and doing all the things for nearly a decade now. If you can believe it, I went full-time in my business in 2016, but I have been online since 2011, really since 2009. I've been coaching since 2014, and I have really worn every single hat in my business all along the way. So as they say, you know, I'm the chief cashier, the chief bottle washer. That has basically been me. And while I no longer do everything, I do have a team that I work with. I wouldn't have been able to get to the place where I can even have a team had I not learned to master my time, and particularly master my time while I was side hustling. Yes, your girl built this business from nothing, from the dirt, out of the mud when I was working a full-time job. Yep, I graduated school in 2012 and immediately went into, you know, full-time corporate America, or shall I say government America. I worked for the federal government in finance and banking for about 4 going on 5 years, and I left to do this full-time in 2016. But from 2012 to 2016, I was building this business on the side. So I know a thing or two around time management and time management as a side hustler. No, I have not forgotten. So if you were walking the same journey, you're like, girl, I'm building this business, okay? I'm working my full-time job. Give me all the tips, right? I got kids at home, I got a spouse, maybe you're caring for aging parents, or you volunteer, or maybe you do a whole host of things and you're like, how does one manage all of this? You're in luck because we're gonna get into it right now. All right, my first time management hack, this is gonna sound kind of silly, but stick with me because it really makes a big difference, is that you have to know before you even get started in your day or get started checking things off your to-do list, is you have to know which tasks require your hands and which tasks require your head. So what I mean by this is that not all tasks are created equal. And oftentimes we get really frustrated, especially when we have limited time, and especially when we are managing our time and we're side hustling because we're trying to do all the tasks in all the available time. And that's not actually the best strategy. In fact, you'll want to do tasks based on the best time for them based on the type of task that it is. And so in my head, I primarily think in terms of head-based tasks and hand-based tasks. What do I mean by that? Head-based tasks are the tasks that require my undivided attention. It requires a lot of concentration. Oftentimes, it's not so much that it's gonna take me a long time to do the thing, but it's gonna take me a long time to think about the thing. Examples of this might be coming up with a new coaching program or a new course or a new product, thinking through a different marketing campaign, coming up with a new brand strategy. Oftentimes the actual execution of the thing doesn't take that long. You know, it might take me an hour to actually do the thing, but it might take me days, sometimes even weeks, to think about the things. Oftentimes I'm kind of like mulling over it, I'm thinking about it, I'm going to sleep, I'm waking up in the middle of the night with amazing ideas. It's kind of percolating in there. And so when you look at your to-do list, the first thing you want to ask yourself is, what are the tasks that require my head and what are the tasks that just require my hands, right? Responding to emails, for the most part, I would consider that a hand task. You know, you can have Netflix on in the background, you can be chilling in the evening, eating your popcorn and just kind of like banging out emails, right? Sometimes scheduling social media, especially if you've created the social media ahead of time. However, creating the social media, I find, tends to be a head task for me. I want to be very creative about it. I want to think through it. But the actual scheduling of it, because if you have been around my channel for any amount of time, you know that I batch create my social media content, including these here videos on YouTube, and I schedule them out. So the scheduling, that's a hand task, right? Again, I could have Netflix on in the background, a glass of wine, be propped up with my laptop and schedule those out. But coming up with the ideas requires my head. So you wanna think about this because oftentimes you don't have your most creative hours available to you. I know when I was working full time and I was running my business on the side, my creative time tends to be like mid-morning, right? So I am an early bird. I do like to get up early, but it takes me a minute to get into the swing of things. And I found around 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., I was super laser focused. I was super sharp. The only problem was I was also super at my cubicle at work, right? And I couldn't work on business things. And so maybe you find that you are the same way. So you want to be mindful of which tasks really are best suited in that creativity time because it takes your head, so that maybe you can schedule those for the weekend. And that's exactly what I would do. Any creative tasks that required my head, I didn't even stress myself out trying to do that, after work in the evenings or on my lunch break. I said, you know what, I'm gonna focus all of my thinking tasks, all of my head tasks, maybe in the mornings on the weekends when I'm not gonna be at my 9-to-5 job. And I reserved many of the hand tasks, so executing things, scheduling things, banging out emails. I did that in the evening after work and in the morning before work, and sometimes even on my lunch break. For instance, on my weekends, I would plan out my podcast, right? Because that's thinking time. What do I want to talk about? How do I want to script this podcast? But the actual execution of the podcast, that's hand time. That's just turning on the microphone and just talking into the microphone based on the outline that I've already scripted. And so I could do that on my lunch break. And so oftentimes I would go in my car on my lunch break on my phone and record my podcast from the parking lot of my corporate job on my lunch break in my car. But again, that was a hand task. I didn't have to think about it because I had already thought about it over the weekend ahead of time, and I had already scripted it out. So make sure you know the difference between which of your tasks are head tasks and which of your tasks are hand tasks. All right, the next thing that you're gonna wanna do if you want to manage your time effectively as a side hustler is you wanna separate your task into 3 buckets. So yes, we talked about hand task and head task, but even beyond that, there's 3 buckets that you wanna drop all of your tasks into. You ready? Okay, you wanna drop your task into quick task, urgent task, and everything else. I'll say that again. Quick task, urgent task, and everything else. This is so important because oftentimes our to-do lists are like a mile long. And that is really demotivating because you look at this list, you see that there's 30 things on it. And even if you give yourself all week to get this done, you're gonna be demotivated because you're like, there's no way that I'm gonna be able to knock this stuff out. But I find that first, looking at this huge, ginormous list that I have and asking myself, which of these are actually quick tasks that is just kind of making my list look super long? But if I just kind of segregated them out and looked at them alone, so these are tasks that take me like 5 minutes or so, or certainly less than 15 minutes to complete, maybe sending an email, making a phone call, doing something online. What are those tasks, right? So I pull them out of my main to-do list and I put them on a list just by themselves, which are my quick tasks. 1, it has the psychological effect of making that list shorter, which is great. But 2, because these are all quick tasks, I find that if I do these first, I'm able to knock out that quick task very, very quickly, right? Sometimes I will give myself an hour. So again, this is something great to do on your lunch break. And I would just power through everything that's on my quick list. And you have that psychological feeling of, wow, I did something, powerful and productive. I actually made progress on my day. And you'll find that that actually gives you the motivation to tackle some of the harder tasks. Which leads us to that urgent list. So you've already separated out of the quick task and you've done those, and now you have your list remaining. And so now you wanna pull out things that are actually urgent. This is really important as well because sometimes, again, psychologically, we get down on ourselves because we keep looking at the same list, we're not making progress, and we're like, oh my goodness, the whole world is on fire. In order to avoid that, look at that list. So you've already separated out of your quick task, but look at the remaining list and ask yourself, which of these tasks are actually urgent? Meaning I need to do these in the next 48 hours, 72 hours max. Otherwise, there's gonna be negative and dire consequences. So maybe there is a bio that you need to send to a podcast that wants to interview you for the podcast, or maybe a client or a prospective client sent you an email and they're asking questions about your program and you need to follow up with them. Again, what are those tasks that you actually need to get done right away, regardless of whatever else is on your to-do list? I find that separating those out, right? So I've got my list that has my quick list, all the quick things I need to do, and I have my list that has my urgent list. I find that now I can focus on just the things that have to get done right now. I don't have fires to put out because I've already put out the fires, because I've done everything that's urgent. And that leads me to the remaining task, which is essentially everything else. And so again, psychology is really huge when it comes to time management. You'll look at this remaining list and you'll feel so much better because 1, it's a lot shorter, right? Because you took all the quick items out of it. And 2, there's not this pressure of oh my goodness, if I don't get this done immediately, the world is gonna end, because you've already taken out the urgent tasks and you've already completed them. So now you just have the tasks that will move your business forward, but there's no pressure and the list is much shorter. And so that leads us to the third thing that you need to do, which is prioritize everything else. So now you've got this list remaining. All of your quick tasks are gone. Hopefully you did that. All of your urgent tasks, you've already taken care of that. Now you got this list of everything else. Well, how do we tackle this? The way I tackle it is I prioritize. And I prioritize by doing the fourth step of this time management process, which is knowing my goals. So I'm a huge, huge believer that one of the best ways to be an effective time manager is to know what impact the tasks that you are assigning for yourself ultimately have. And in fact, I talked about this in this video that I have right here, which is all about how to set goals like a millionaire. But I look at my goals every single day, and not just any goals. I look at my weekly goals, my monthly goals, my quarterly goals, my annual goals, my 10-year goals, right? I have goals way, way, way off into the future, but I make sure that everything that I'm doing is tied to that goal. So maybe it's something as simple as, I don't know, look up potential preschools for my daughter, right? I have a young daughter who's not school age yet, but in a few years she will be, and maybe there's a particular preschool that I want to find for her. So if I just have that on my to-do list alone, it's kind of like an island. It's just like a single task that's floating out there. I might not readily know the significance. I'm more prone to put it off, to procrastinate, because it's like, oh, another thing that I need to check off my to-do list. But if I know my goals and I could tie it to a goal, right? Maybe it's tied to my goal of helping my daughter read by age 4, right? That's a goal I have for her because that was a goal that I had for my son, and we were able to be successful at that. He's 5 now and can read really, really well, but I want the same for my daughter, right? So maybe I have this goal of her being able to read by age 4, which is connected to this broader goal that I have of, raising well-educated, well-adjusted, globally minded children, which, is connected to my even broader goal of being able to raise my kids tricontinentally. This is actually a goal of mine. If you've been on my channel, I've talked about this a lot, but over time, I want to get to the place where we're living in multiple countries throughout the year so that they can be exposed to different types of people, different types of cultures again, so that I can raise up leaders for, the future that will do good and leave a big impact and legacy in the world, right? So you see how all of that is connected? So now when I look at my list and I'm like, oh, I need to research preschools, it's not just another thing that I need to check off a list, but now it's tied to these broader goals around education and raising well-adjusted kids and, this dream of being able to raise my kids tricontinental. There's power and there's resonance there. So now I do this with every single thing that is on my to-do list. I connect it to a broader goal and then I prioritize it. And I prioritize it based on the goal that it's connected to. So when I look at all the goals that all of my tasks are connected to, I say which goal is number 1, which goal is number 2, which goal is number 3, and I order my task in the exact same way. And so I find that this really, really clears my mind because now I am free to just simply tackle my to-do list in the order that it's prioritized based on the goals, and I don't have to second guess myself. If I can't complete my whole to-do list in a day, it's fine because I know I got my highest priority items done first. So prioritize everything else and make sure that you know your goals. And the next thing you need to do, especially if you're side hustling, is you need to practice energy management. Everyone talks about time management, but no one talks about energy management. And I would say energy management is even more important than time management. Because guess what? You might have time at 2 a.m., right? Because you're not at your 9-to-5 job. Your kids aren't, awake and asking you a bunch of questions. You're not gonna get a lot of phone calls. So, maybe 2 a.m. is an amazing time to build your business. Or maybe not because you need the sleep and you are sleeping. So you need to determine when is your energy highest. What is your energy pattern and your energy flow like throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, especially for my women who are watching this, too often we're not paying attention to our monthly cycles, right? Not to get into depth for that, but you should definitely Google cycle syncing because your psychology, your brain physiology, your body, your hormones fluctuate throughout the month based on where you are in your cycle. So again, this is just an example. We all have these different rhythms, again, whether they're daily, whether they're monthly, even as we think about over the years, right? Someone who maybe is in their 60s is at a different season in their life and has a different level of energy than someone who is in their 20s. So you just want to be mindful of what is your energy right now, right? What's your energy at this point in the day? What is your energy at this point in the week? What is your energy at this point in the month? What is your energy at this point in your broader life cycle? And make sure that you are arranging your tasks to fit that, right? So, for instance, if you know that, towards the end of the week, you are psychologically burned out, you've done all this work for your actual 9-to-5 job, and you really don't have it in you to focus on your business, then make sure that you are front loading your heaviest task, maybe that thinking work. Maybe you're doing that at the beginning of the week, right after your weekend. That way you are refreshed and recharged. Maybe you say, you know, 1 day a week on Mondays, I'm gonna get up super early. I'm gonna get up at 4 a.m. No, it's not gonna be fun, but I know that I will be refreshed from the weekend. I will be recharged. And that's the best time for me to get my hardest task done in my business, so that I won't put it off to the end of the week when I know that my energy is gonna be at its lowest. So make sure you practice energy management. All right, thanks so much for watching this video. Now, one thing that I didn't mention that has been a huge time management hack for me is having accountability. And if you want accountability, particularly when it comes to growing your coaching business and maybe even getting your coaching certification, I invite you to apply to my brand new coaching certification program. We not only will give you an accredited coaching certification in about 3 to 4 months or less, but we even assign you an accountability coach that's going to help you every step of the way. We show you how to come up with your own coaching methodology so that you will stand out from the crowd, and we even show you how to package it, and if you so choose, we will even show you how to build an entire brand around your coaching business. So if this is something that you are interested in and you want accountability in all of the time management hacks, I invite you to apply by clicking the link below. You'll be directed to a calendar and an application, and if approved, you'll be invited to a call with one of my enrollment coordinators who will walk through the entire process with you. All right, thanks so much for watching this video. If you loved it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you can't wait for my next YouTube video, make sure you are subscribed to my podcast, The Courtney Sanders Show, on both iTunes and Spotify. And if you can't wait for my next YouTube video or my next podcast episode, make sure you're following me on either Instagram or TikTok. My username is CourtneyLSanders on both. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.